Hi, and welcome back to Through the Muck and the Mire. I'm your host, David Hollifield. Tonight, I'm going to do things a little differently. It's just going to be me this time. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit more brief, definitely not an hour. I'm going to be speaking about the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis and also touch on the Ahmaud Arbery case. So, George Floyd was killed by an officer after he was already restrained and handcuffed on the ground on his stomach. Officer put his knee and his body weight into George's neck. George screamed and cried for help, said that he couldn't breathe, said that his entire body was hurting. Officer didn't get off of him. Keep in mind, he poses no threat now. He's laying on his belly with his hands handcuffed behind his back. There's no excuse to use any type of force at that point. And I'm pretty sure, I've already asked different police officers and they've said, at that point, there is no reason to restrain him like that at all. So that's murder, if you ask me. He killed that man. And I don't really know if putting your knee into the back of somebody's neck is even approved by any police department, unless, basically, I don't know if that's considered deadly force to them or not, but it should be. It should be considered deadly force because it's been proven multiple times that you can kill people by doing something similar to that. I think most police departments don't actively allow police officers to choke people like this. Certain chokeholds are actually banned from police departments, so I'm assuming that this should also be banned, and if it's not already, then it should be now. But anyways, yeah, it's really pathetic. And, but I do have to say I'm really happy and, pleasantly surprised that a lot of people are actually coming out, including police officers and, a lot of people on social media saying that George deserves justice. And in my experience with similar situations in the past, when they've come out in the media, they haven't gotten as much support, and so I definitely think that the public perspective has shifted. I think it still has a long way to go, and a lot of people try to tarnish BLM, and they'll try to dig up somebody's past for different Black Americans that are being killed by cops. Like, you're trying to dig up the past on somebody that's dead now. They were killed, and a lot of times killed unarmed, not doing anything threatening, life-threatening. It's just ridiculous to me. But anyways, yeah. So I do want to say that I'm very pleasantly surprised, and I hope that we continue to progress in that way. But I also want to say that we have a long way to go, and I hope that any police officers that are out here watching, any of my friends, I've got a lot of friends, I've got family members that are police officers. I love you all. I have respect for you. We have conversations, I have multiple conversations. There's a lot of people on my social media that are police officers that I either went to school with, I served in the military with, or I've just known them for a long time, or they're my cousin. And we have conversations back and forth about, my perspective on it and then their perspective as somebody that's actually working on the streets. And I think that those are the type of conversations that are going to make progress. Like, we have to talk as a community. We need to talk amongst ourselves, and we need to talk to police officers, and police officers need to police themselves. That's one of the biggest things, though. Like, there can't be a good old boy system where y'all just protect your own. And I'm happy to see that there are cops that are speaking out. So on to Ahmaud Arbery, though. I've seen people digging up his past, which I don't even think y'all have done a good job of discrediting his name. Like, there was a video of him from 2017, completely irrelevant to what happened in February of 2020. So I don't know why that's even being talked about, but it wasn't even a video of him doing anything wrong. He was sitting in his car by himself, and he was asked for his driver's license by a police officer, and he was completely cooperative at first. greeted the officer, told him he was just sitting by himself. It was his day off. He's rapping alone in his car, just sitting there. And, as far as this officer knows, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's sitting there by himself. He hasn't visibly done anything wrong. The police officer didn't smell any marijuana, didn't see anything sketchy. But for some reason, he still decides to take his driver's license and run his information. Like, at that point, you're looking for something to be wrong. And I don't morally agree with that. I would like to err on the side of protecting privacy and our rights and freedoms as Americans. If that police officer got a call that said that there was some kind of actual suspicious activity, or the police officer rolled up and saw something where he actually did smell drugs or something like that, then, that kind of justifies it. But that's not what happened in this situation. He rolled up, Ahmaud got out, was very friendly with him, cooperated with him, and the officer still chose to start running his information. And at that point, I would feel harassed. If I'm sitting alone by myself in a car and an officer comes up and stops me, we have a conversation. I tell him I'm not doing anything wrong. He sees that I'm not doing anything wrong, but he still decides to run my information to check to see if, maybe there's something bad that he can find. That's bullshit to me. I know it's regular. It's very common, and it's not like, most people think it's not a huge deal, but I don't agree with it. Anyways, that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter if he actually got busted for something that day. Even if he got in a fight with a police officer, it wouldn't matter. That doesn't make his death justified at all. And trying to make him out to be some kind of thug or something like that is just bullshit. You're trying to drag this dead person, this guy that got murdered. He was killed. You're trying to drag a dead person's name through the mud after he just lost his life. And people were like, "Oh, well, it's justified, or it's not justified, but these people didn't murder him because they didn't have intent or whatever." Maybe they didn't go out that morning and say, "We're going to go kill us a black boy," or something, something ridiculously racist like that. I think most people realize that America isn't that blatantly racist. There are those out there, but for the most part, it's not that blatant. However, I do think that he was profiled. That can't be proven at all unless they texted somebody and said, "Hey, we're going to go chase this black kid because he's black." It's all speculation, but you're being naive if you think that people are not actually profiling a black kid. Not only are you're being naive, but if you're also the same person that is bringing out a video from 2017 to try to call this kid a thug, yeah, you're not naive. You're just ignorant, and you probably actually are racist. You're a closet racist. Maybe you don't even realize it. Maybe you don't even know that you're a racist, but you are. And you should probably come to terms with that. But anyways, one other thing that people have said is that they can't be tried for murder because there was no intent. That's not necessarily true, because in Georgia, as well as 40 something other states, there is what's called felony murder. Felony murder means that you killed somebody with or without intent during the commission of a felony. So the defense for the McMichaels from the very beginning was that they were performing a citizen's arrest because they believed that he fit the description of somebody that had done a string of burglaries in that neighborhood. First off, I haven't seen any kind of police records or evidence that show that there were any string of burglaries. There was one burglary, I think, a month or two prior, where the McMichaels actually had a gun stolen out of their truck. So, they were clearly trying to get vigilante justice for themselves here. But even if he fit a description, which would be what, a young black male, so you're just gonna citizens arrest any young black male that you see that happens to be in the neighborhood, even if he fit a description, that's not how the citizen's arrest works. Citizen's arrest requires firsthand knowledge for you to actually like witness somebody or to be on video camera of them committing a crime. Some people say that it requires them to be committing a felony. I don't know if that part's true or not, but even if it's just even if it's justified with a misdemeanor, he wasn't videotaped or witnessed committing any crime. At the very most, you could say that he trespassed on that guy's property, but that would mean that the homeowner would have to tell him to get off of his property, and then him refuse, and then you could say, oh well, he was trespassing or whatever. But if he just walked into a construction site like dozens of other people do, like there's video of other people walking into Mr. English is the owner of the house, the construction home. Mr. English's own surveillance camera has shown like a dozen other people at various times of the day and night walking into that same exact house. So he walked into a house that a lot of people do apparently on a pretty normal basis. And people do that all over the United States in general. Like I've done it myself. But he wasn't videotaped doing anything illegal, and the neighbors didn't see him doing anything illegal. So that means that they had no right to do a citizen's arrest, unless there's something that I don't know, which all of the information isn't out. Like the GBI, I don't think they released everything. I don't think everybody has all of the evidence. But from the evidence that we do have, a citizen's arrest was not warranted. And that means that them chasing him in their trucks with their guns for like 5 minutes, constant, like think about being chased for 5 minutes straight, like running for 5 minutes straight. That's a long time. It's not, the 30-second clip that they showed you is not all that happened. They were pursuing him for 4+ minutes throughout the neighborhood, running back and forth, turning their trucks around, trying to box him in, according to their own words in the police report. And they had guns. And he was wearing gym shorts and a t-shirt, had no weapons on him, had not stolen anything. And so I mean, they attempted to corner him. He got confrontational, which can't really say I blame him. I mean, he felt like he couldn't get anywhere. He felt like he couldn't get away from them. So what else is he gonna do? Just sit down and be like, oh you're doing a citizen's arrest on me when I haven't done anything illegal. I'll just comply with you since you're you're not a cop, so I don't have to comply with anything that you say, and I haven't done anything illegal, so go away. Anyway, so if they can't do a citizen's arrest, then that means that was aggravated assault. And aggravated assault is a felony. And he died while they were aggravated assaulting him. And that means that they are guilty of aggravated assault and felony murder. And as far as the cameraman goes, the guy that used his camera to record the last 30 seconds of that altercation, he was also arrested for murder because he was involved with the pursuit of him. So, who knows if that one will stick. That's probably the least likely one to stick. But people that think that they can't be tried for murder, you're wrong. You probably haven't even bothered to Google. Just a simple Google search can show you. By the time you've watched this, I've already included for you, so you don't even have to do the legwork at this point. But a simple Google search would have showed you, the requirements for each of their charges: aggravated assault, felony murder, and the I think it's like accomplice liability or something like that. But yeah, anyways, they can absolutely be tried for murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault. All I can say is that I hope it doesn't end up like Trayvon Martin, because it was kind of a similar incident where a neighborhood watch guy decided that he was going to track down a young black male in a hoodie and a backpack because that was suspicious to him. The cops told him not to engage. He still did. Confronted Trayvon. They got into an altercation. There's no video evidence of who was winning that fight, but there's audio recording of 911 phone calls with somebody screaming in the background, which Zimmerman says was him screaming for help because Trayvon was beating that ass. So then he pulled his gun. So he started a fight with somebody when the cops told him not to engage that person in the first place. He started getting his butt kicked, so then he pulled his gun and shot this kid. And now Trayvon Martin is dead, and George Zimmerman walks free. So that is one of the worst injustices that I've ever known about in my short life. That's pretty damn bad, and I hope we don't repeat it here with Ahmaud Arbery. And I also hope that we keep ourselves accountable and our friends accountable and our coworkers accountable for their ignorance and their negligence, and let's just keep on pushing forward and work together to make America better. But anyways, I just hope it works out and Ahmaud and his family get the justice that they deserve. And I really wish that we would all just come together, which it seems like, my anecdotal evidence of the people that are, actually interacting with me in these conversations about Ahmaud Arbery and now about George Floyd, it seems like there's been progress. So I really hope that we keep that ball rolling, and hopefully we see less of this and eventually none of this one day. Thank you.